to round number 2. Dose
of 7.
Of 7, which is pretty good, of Dragon Ball Super regional qualifiers here at Otakon, which is, again, crazy convention.
Crazy.
Never been here before.
Very good.
Everyone's dressed up. I feel like a loser because I'm wearing a tie. I've seen freaking
Well, you're dressed as a loser now.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks.
There you go.
I guess I'm nailing that one, right? No big deal. Thanks a lot. All right, so on this match, we have 2 great players.
We have an Ultimate Box Vegeta, which is great. It's a brand new Ultimate Box leader, and it's really cool because it does give you like energy recycling, right? It gives you the ability of picking up your energy and just putting it back into your hand after you use it, which is actually really
pretty wild.
Pretty wild. He's also a warrior of Universe 7, so guess what? You can use all your Universe 7s with no specified cost, and
which
that
is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, Vegeta, obviously, fan favorite. People love Vegeta. And I feel like they just keep printing really cool, interesting Vegeta cards, which is really neat. And this one was one that people were so excited for. I thought Zeno was going to be like the most hyped Ultimate Box leader, and as it turns out, I think that's actually Vegeta. This time. He's super cool, has a lot of really cool effects, and just can't wait to see how Jonathan utilizes him here.
So on the other side, we have Max, and he's playing androids. What do you think about androids right now? I mean, they got a huge powerhouse. I love the art on this guy, by the way. This is like his finishing move, no?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like when he was the climax of
Yep.
the Tournament of Power, when he was just putting the team on his back.
On his back? Like
Man,
he always does?
Yes, he's just a savage out of nowhere.
I mean, he put John Tata on his back. Ain't much more you can put on your back after that.
I mean, once
Universe
you carry
7, John Tata, I mean, there's
he's
not
got
much.
some old bones.
Right, old bones. Not much more you can do. But no, androids have always been that deck that's been around. It's always done something. It's always been, ever since it's been released, it's been pretty devastating. It kind of fell off a little bit since the format got a little quicker. But now with the Ultimate Box inclusions and some other inclusions of some pretty cool stuff, the deck is starting to come back and be pretty devastating. It has ways to disrupt your hand, has ways to do early aggression, has mana efficiency, and has free blockers. So pretty sick deck. I know it's a deck that our team was pretty interested in trying out this weekend. I have no idea what they decided to play, but I know this was definitely a deck on our radar, and I think it's really cool to see it showcased against such an awesome leader as Ultimate Box Vegeta. One of the cool things androids can do that I kind of forgot to mention there is they can awaken at 6, which means they can usually awaken as fast as SS3 Goku, which is one of the reasons why SS3 Goku seems to be so devastating, is they get energy advantage, they can awaken fast, and they can get card advantage from that as well. What's really cool here is androids can mimic that awakening. They can awaken about the same time with Gohans and other cards that can hurt themselves. So it's really cool. They don't miss very many turns without drawing extra cards. They can almost always keep up with that hand advantage. And honestly, I think, George, the only thing that was really kind of holding androids back, for being tier 1 was Cold Bloodlust. And we've seen that basically disappear.
No, I agree. Cold Bloodlust being a card that's effectively been just pushed out of the meta, and now you're facing a lot of cards that really just get affected by the cell chain. This cell chain can devastate almost every top deck in this format, and it's so crazy how many people haven't even given androids a chance.
I know.
And we're gonna see exactly what the impact is as Max, a very good player, a very experienced player, I think is gonna try to put androids on the map again, and it might be a deck that we have to start playing and respecting again.
One of the cards that they got, this brand new card, is they got the new 5-drop Cell from the Ultimate Box. And what he does is when he comes into play, you can put Cell Junior tokens into play, which might not seem like that big of a deal, but what's really cool is you can Union Absorb into that card from your 3-drop.
And don't forget, you draw 2 cards.
Absolutely.
Off that.
Yes.
So not only do you get those tokens, I'm all a man for drawing cards.
Yeah,
and drawing
we
cards.
We talked about that quite often.
Yes.
We love drawing cards.
And especially after Zeno, when Zeno's so powerful in the format and it has such big representation, how do you come back from a Zeno, right? Like, how do you do that? Well, 5-drop Cell is the answer that you were looking for.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't want to hand drop them to 3 if they're playing Zeno, right? What's the point? They're just going to Zeno it back, right? So what do? After the Zeno, you got the 5-drop Vow Replication. Not only does it give you some pressure, it gives you some cards too.
Yeah, something else that like the androids does a lot that, I think is often overlooked is that it can really punish bad hands. So if you get a bad draw, you get bad hands, you know, SS3 Goku doesn't always Zeno you on turn 4. It's not 100% of the thing. And so what androids can do is often rip the combo from your hand. It can go, you know, Cell Chain, Super Combo, Mira. Okay, now you can't chain Zeno me unless you top deck it, which is really cool. And something that, again, I think is often overlooked. Now, Jonathan does have a lot of cards that I see in his energy right now that can come back from a Cell Chain. And that's always, when you're playing against androids, that's always step 1. There's 3 steps to beating androids. Number 1 is always recovering from the Cell Chain. So it's really important that you have a way to do that. With Chain Attack Zeno being so prevalent in the format, most decks do have a way to get back from that card disadvantage. However, Jonathan's card of choice seems to be the new promo Gohan that gets to draw you 2 cards if you're at 4 or less cards in hand, which is pretty insane. Max going to use the full power energy to kill the Trunks. Very powerful card in this format. Green, while not being the strongest color, is definitely one of the best splashable colors. You get access to some really cool cards, full power energy being the best out of those cards. Also, androids gets the negate that lets you speed surprise attack, lets you pitch a card and kill something.
Yeah.
Very good.
So because Max is both in green and with a green android leader, he can actually access 8 of the most powerful super combos right now. A play set of each, super speedy surprise attack, and full power energy.
All right, Jonathan going to attack in here with Vegeta now. 10,000 to 10,000. Knocking Max down to 4 life, which turns on the stage 2 we talked about. 2 things you have to worry about when you play against androids. Number 1, your hand advantage. Number 2 is dealing with their awakening. Once they get to 4 life, all of their androids get all their androids 17, 18s get plus 5,000 power, which can be tremendous boost. So you have to find a way to deal with that. It can be very, very, very hard to do so. And I'm curious to see what Jonathan has up his sleeve to deal with that, because traditionally the way to beat it has just been having a lot of removal, having consistent removal in your deck. A lot of decks, though, have been cutting that removal, and that makes androids awakening side very scary. They can play 2-drop 20Ks, and that's just devastating for almost every deck in the current meta to deal with. So here we see Max going up to the 5 chain, choosing the classic 5 chain, KO in a card when it comes into play, and he's going to attack. Love this.
Yep, I think this is the correct play from Max. Not only are you attacking with a double striking menace, but you're also threatening the ability of actually getting rid of both 2 of your opponent's life and 2 more cards effectively, because going all the way up to the Cell Chain, you're going to be able to discard more cards from your opponent's hand because they will have more inherently afterwards. And looks like Jonathan's going to go and going to try to combo out of this. I mean, you're going to lose those cards anyways, right?
Yeah, but
so
I'll tell
this
you,
is the most powerful way to kind of effectively make the Cell Chain a little bit less effective.
Max doesn't have to combo here.
He did not know.
I mean, he doesn't have the Cell Chain. He can just put a card under it and go get the new 5-drop and just draw 2 cards.
That's
and be
what's so fantastic. It
like,
really makes your opponent play terribly.
Absolutely.
Because they're playing correctly, but you know, you have more options now. You don't just have the one-trick pony.
Yep.
You got the pony with multiple tricks now. Not only can it somersault, it can backflip, and it can do a barrel roll. So what do you do now?
It's tough. It's tough enough to stop the barrel rolling pony, honestly. That just sounds hard to beat.
It's unfair. It's unfair, okay? Ban the pony.
Absolutely. Ban that pony, baby. That's what we got to do. So, back to what I was saying. Step 2. We talked about this, George. Number 1, stop that Cell Chain. Number 2, stop the androids awakening turn. I am going to say, live on Twitch, that I think androids has the most powerful awakening side in the game. They get all their 17s, 18 gets plus 5k, which is absurd. They also get access to their 16 super combo, which is discarding cards from your hand. So it's very hard to deal with that. Now, stage 3, the last and final thing you have to deal with when you're fighting against androids is hand management. What I mean by that is a lot of decks, it doesn't matter how many cards you have in your hand, it doesn't matter how few cards you have in your hand. You just draw your cards, you have your cards, everything's fine. But with androids, you have to maintain your hand advantage. Sometimes you have to not play an energy because you don't want your hand to be discarded with super combos and Mira and lose your combos like chain attack and stuff. So you have to be very careful, very aware of what your opponent how many cards your opponent can discard in your hand and try to keep a buffer of cards in your hand. It's very tricky. It's very, very, very hard, and only the top echelon players can get it right. So here, Jonathan's gonna take two pretty powerful cards with Foreseeing Hit. I'll tell you what, man. Foreseeing Hit, one of the best cards in the game. Absolutely.
Fantastic. I feel like it's a little bit unfair, just a little bit.
Just a teeny tiny bit.
Oh man, it's just that and Zeno is just it's a very unfair combination.
It is. One of my favorite plays actually is whenever I get Zeno'd. I always like to get Zeno'd once I've been hit, because you just get those cards back, after you Zeno. You know what I'm saying? So like if you get hit, you can Zeno on your turn, and at the end of your turn you get those cards back. So now you go up card advantage. If that makes sense. You go from 5 to 7. So a lot of the times if someone hits me, I always want to think about Zenoing that turn so I can get get those 2 extra cards in hand.
That's actually really, really important to do, especially when a lot of people are running around with hit and Zeno. Definitely a good thing to think about, and if you do run into some matchups like that, which we're seeing a lot of red SS3, so that's definitely something that will come up eventually.
Absolutely. All right, so Jonathan's tacking in here with Vegeta. Why don't we pull Vegeta up here and talk a little bit about what that leader does?
So the Vegeta leader's pretty strong. Coming out in the brand new Ultimate Box expansion set, which we were talking about, 25 brand new cards.
You get play sets of them. Insane.
I mean, you only get 1 foil, but...
yeah, I need about 4 of them, no big deal. Man. All right, we're going to pull this leader up here, talk a little bit about him. All right, sorry about that, guys. A little technical difficulty here. So, Vegeta, pretty awesome card. We'll go over. I know you guys may not have seen him yet. Very strong card. Has Warrior of Universe 7. What that means is that he can treat all Universe 7 in all areas as if they had no specified cost. So you can pay any energy for those cards. Extremely powerful ability. Something we see on Universe 7 Gohan, which makes that deck so cool. It's kind of like Vegeta's ability, but a little bit better. We have Auto. When this card attacks a leader card, if you have a Universe 7 in your energy area, draw 1 card, and this card gains plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So, on his Awakening side, guys, he can deal 15,000 damage to you if you have a Universe 7 in your energy area. And guess what? You're going to, because you're playing a Universe 7 deck. And then Awaken, when your life is at 4 or less, you may choose up to 2 energy, switch them to active mode, very powerful ability currently. And it was Awaken inside, it says, during your turn, if you have 3 or more Universe 7 in your energy area, this card gains 5,000 power. Just permanent. On your turn, though. So he's a 20k on your turn. And then his last auto says, Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1 card. You may choose up to 1 of your energy and add it to your hand. If you choose to add a card from your energy area to your hand, choose up to 1 card in your hand to add your energy. Why this is really cool is because you can essentially tap out. Yes. Attack, return a tapped out energy to your hand, and put an active energy back down.
Essentially like netting an energy.
Right, yeah, essentially netting energy. So you can use that as defense, you can use that for a Sensu Bean on your defense, and then untap 2 more, and then really kind of spiral out of control with that. So it's very, very powerful leader, and it has a lot of different things that you can take advantage with, which is really, really cool. All right, let's get back to the game. Sorry, I took a little bit of a detour there. I just want to make sure I clarify what this card does, because he does some tricky things, and it may look kind of obnoxious once you see him attack a couple times, but very, very powerful. I like this leader too because he can charge cards that are like bad in the early game.
Yes, and then get them back in the
right.
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
so
cool.
Good. You can charge your super combos at the beginning of the game, and you're like, I don't care.
Well, actually, what's pretty cool, something I didn't think about, it's actually a good way to protect yourself from Cell Chain.
Yes.
because you could charge those super combos and then get cell chain and then get them back and start using them.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's actually if you think of it as like a bank against cell chain, it's actually pretty sick. I wonder if Jonathan's going to do that. All right, so it looks like Max is going to. Oh, I love that Max has played Big Mama 17. That's my card. That was one of my favorite cards.
I think you need to. You got to play Big Mama and Big Daddy. 17 and 18. Those are so good right now, especially against Zeno. Change Zeno. Yeah, if they change Zeno, Big 17 is going to ditch you out of a bad situation, and then 18 is very good when they Zeno themselves too. You start making them throw those resources out there. It's just very good bodies. They're 25k double strikers with Android leader. Like, no reason not to play them. Yeah, no big deal. Just a 4-drop 24k double striker. It discards a card when it attacks. Like, I'm on board. Very powerful card. All right, we'll see what Max decides to do here. Charging an energy and playing out critical Android. Attacking for 20k. Now remember, if he gets a card that's 3 or less here, he can play a 17 that might be in his hand, though he has no hand, so that's not going to happen. And actually, Max is going to scoop it up. All right, pretty good game. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you think Max and Jonathan should sideboard in this game. All right, so if you're Max, that was a tough one. I felt like he had a pretty good command control. Maybe
he just got hit out of the game.
I felt I felt like Max might have. He did have the cell chain that turn, right? He was able to go up the chain, I think, right? I feel like if he was able to go up the chain, that he should have immediately, but I don't know if he just chose not to, or he was like putting his opponent on, like, oh, he'll take the 2 life and then we'll cell chain him, no big deal. So
yeah, I mean Max won that game.
Oh, Max won that game. Okay.
I actually thought Jonathan
that's what I figured, but I didn't. I looked away and I was like, I
did
guess,
too. I looked away for a second. I looked back and I thought he just I thought he lost, but he didn't. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like he was in a position where he couldn't have lost that game. That's why I was so surprised. I was like, he started off pretty well. He got the cell chain going. Like, he had good amount of cards in hand. I mean, sure, his opponent double hit him, but there's only so much hit he's going to do. You get those cards back, right? It's not like you lose them indefinitely to the underrealm,
Absolutely.
So it's not too bad in that sense. But Max had assembled enough pressure. I think he has a lot of good finishers. Like I said, that new Android is just going to give it so much more depth. A blocker that can get an auto on summon is just huge.
Yeah, so some of the things we have to talk about, what does Jonathan need to sideboard in to maybe get back into this game? There's a couple things I can think of. Number one, some more removal. One thing that Universe 7 has that a lot of other decks don't is very consistent removal that's easy to use, easy to play, easy to get. They have the Gohan they can get from Piccolo. They have Krillin, that's a very good card that helps them awaken and deal with cards. You just have to have removal against androids. If you don't, their cheap, powerful cards will take over the game very, very quickly. Second of all, Jonathan needs ways to get cards back after a cell chain, which you can do with Fu. You can also do with the Gohan that we see in his deck as well, the red Gohan. As far as Max, he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. Androids is not a reactive deck. Androids is an aggressive deck. So it wants to do what it needs to do and make you respond. The caveat to Androids is that you have to respond very intelligently. You have to be very familiar with what Androids is trying to do. You have to be very familiar with their game plan and try to react to that in almost flawless fashion, or they're going to take over the game. So right now, Max just needs to see what the weakness to Jonathan's deck is, which seems to be right now just hand control. He needs to keep pressuring that part of it. So add in more mirrors if he needs to, add in more ways to discard cards out of his hand, and it seems like Jonathan's having a hard time dealing with that. So whenever you play against androids, what's your strategy? What do you like to do?
It's really hard. I think Android's probably one of the trickiest cell decks to play against, because if you play into the whole, I want to keep my hand size low, they don't have to cell chain you to win. That's a common misconception that many people have. Like, oh, if they don't cell chain me, they're not going to win the game, right? But that's completely wrong with this new Android deck. because you actually have androids that are attacking and threatening you. If you drop your hand size down to 4 or 5, then Big Mama Android's going to start ripping those cards out of your hand, and it's going to be really, really bad time. It's going to be a really, really bad time. Because then you're getting pressured by a 25k double striking body, and at the same time, you're losing a card.
Right, absolutely.
And then you also have these crit androids, which people are forgetting about.
I love those crit androids.
We didn't see Max play them game 1, and they're 2-drop 20k criticals when he's awakened.
Yeah, and what's really cool about those cards, the crit combo, which is something I didn't talk about too much last game, is that's something that's like really, really hard to deal with. He attacks for 20k, hits you, you have to discard a card. If he gets a 17, he can play a 17, so if he gets an 18 off of it, he can play 18 out for free. Then 17's going to untap those. It's very, very devastating. The critical combo is very, very tough to deal with. All right, both players off to a pretty decent start. Jonathan getting that early blocker out there. I like it. Let's go attack with Vegeta. Attacking for 15k, it's a Max. Max is going to take that. Actually, pretty good for Max that he's against an aggressive leader that wants to attack. It's actually putting him in a situation where he can awaken pretty early. Max having 1 Android 16 in hands and can actually awaken this turn if he wants. Really no reason not to awaken against his deck, right? You're not going to be faced up against any chain attack Zenos or anything or any cell chains or anything like that. I mean, I can't think of a reason why Max wouldn't want to awaken you.
No. Max wants to awaken as soon as possible. The sooner he awakens, the more deadly his androids become. So he's going to go ahead and awaken here, draw 2 cards.
Chat saying that we use Ultimate Box Vegeta. That's because his front side is literally just Vegeta, like almost all of them, so it's not really that descriptive. If we used his backside name, we were afraid that people would know who that was.
Explosive Power Vegeta. I didn't even know what the name of the backside was.
That's actually one thing I love about this game. I love how everybody comes up with their own names for these cards. You know, like Colby is the worst, right? He comes up like, I never know what he's talking about. He's like, I'll put 4 that little red dude with a suit, and I'm like, I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't know.
Jiren or whatever. It's like, okay, that's what do you mean whatever?
What do you mean?
I never know what you're talking about. Little turtle man. I don't know what that is. So it's really cool.
Guy that draws you a card.
Yeah, yeah. Guy that draws you cards. Guy who draws you 2 cards. Like I don't know what's happening.
Every card in this game draws you a card, buddy.
Yeah.
You gotta.
It's really cool. All right, first.
This is game 2, guys. Yeah.
Game 2. Yep. First critical attack coming out, 15k critical to Jonathan. Jonathan's going to pay 1 and play the 3rd Android 18. Insane. If you guys aren't familiar with this card, this is just like double shot Vegeta. You can combo with this card, and if you do, it comes into play rested.
Man, 3 Android 18s here on board for Jonathan. He's got to start pressuring his opponent, really. I mean, there's not really a way to slow roll this cell chain deck. If you don't do something, they're going to do something to you. And I like this attack on the Android 17 as it's still a 15k.
Yep.
Once it becomes a 20k critical, it's going to be really bad times for Jonathan having to try to defend that and throw 10ks.
All right, VG attacking again for 15k. Actually has 4 15k attackers on field if you count the leader, which is pretty absurd on turn 3. And he still has his energy open. Like he hasn't even played anything yet. Oh, there he is.
What better way to beat androids but with androids?
Fight fire or fire, that's what I always say. All right, coming in, he gets to draw 2 cards. $15k critical coming in on the Android. I'd imagine that Max was going to use this. Uses Sudigo there.
That Gohan's so powerful. Can we talk about that for a moment? That guy's insane.
Right. It's 15k, draws you 2, has critical. I mean, Max would have liked to just take that attack, so he would be at 15k. But Jonathan did a great job attacking when he was at 5 life, forcing him to have to combo 2 cards. Pretty cool. Really good play by Jonathan. see what Max decides to do here. He has infinite cards in hand. He needs to find a way to deal with this Gohan. This Gohan cannot stay on the field. Androids live or die by the card advantage. If he keeps getting to draw 2 cards every time this thing swings, Max will lose very quickly.
Yep. Not only is he swinging no cards to Max's advantage because of the critical ability on Gohan, but it's actually keeping Jonathan in that range of coming back from Cell Chain, giving him a little bit more cards to combo with, a little bit more cards to pressure Max's life total with, and that's the only way that he's going to win this game.
Absolutely, because Max has super combos in hand that can discard Jonathan's hand, but using them with a Gohan on field just doesn't make sense. Like, you're just giving your opponent the ability to draw more cards. So he has to find a way before he uses those super combos, ideally, to get rid of the Gohan. That way he can then be able to use his super combos efficiently.
Yeah, priority number 1, get rid of that Gohan.
Yeah, Gohan must go. Looks like he does have a Banisher Fu in hand, which you might be able to just use that to stop it. Max choosing to use Time Patrol Trunks here gets a full power energy to the bottom and actually gets a full power. No, it could have
He
been.
has 3 full power energies.
Yeah, it isn't going to do a whole lot for him though.
Can't imagine it's very good against this leader.
All right, attack at 15k to 15k. See if Jonathan finds a way to protect it.
I got the water. It's going. So where's the line? Water flowing?
All right, actually lets it die. Jonathan's going to let it die. Jonathan with looks like 4 cards in hand. So actually Max got the Gohan and got to kill an android. I'm very surprised that Jonathan is just letting these cards die. I can't quite see his hand, but it must be not very good.
The thing is, it's tricky, right? Especially when your opponent has a lot of creatures on board. If you invest too much into protecting one of them, they're normally going to have 2 or 3 more attacks to kind of target that one card that you're defending. So It's almost like fighting a losing battle. And that's a lot to do with like when you should combo and when you shouldn't combo, and that's what separates decent players from the great players. Being able to differentiate between when you need to combo, when you don't, and what your priorities are, and what you can afford to get rid of, and what you can afford to get rid of.
Yeah, Jonathan moving into phase 2 of fighting androids here, which is this hand management. Has very few cards in his hand, needs to find a way to get some more cards in his hand and battle back. The big problems facing him right now is every battle card that Max plays is going to be 20k. This is phase 2, like we talked about.
Yep.
Dealing with the Awakened side. It's very, very tough whenever every card they play from now on is at least a 20k, and all your guys are 15k. All right, Jonathan attacking for... Oh, taking in time, take a second. I think you wanted to attack into that Android 18 and you realize, wait a second, that's a 20k. Maybe I don't. Or actually, maybe just attack the Vegeta into it. Jonathan getting another Gohan. This is going to be huge. This is a huge way for him to get back into this game. That's what he needs. He needs to find a way. Phase 3, hand management. Get those hands.
I like this decision by Jonathan to not go after the Android 18. You never really want to trade up. It's really just a terrible feeling.
It's tough.
You're automatically losing a card.
Absolutely.
Every time that you trade up. And that's only on 5K combos. I mean, 5K trade ups. Imagine 10K trade ups. You're losing 2 cards, or like maybe 1 10K.
I think Max is going to be able to deal with this pretty easily, though. I mean, he has plenty of full power energies in hand, so he can actually, if he wanted to, full power energy this attack, which he decided not to. That's why Jonathan comboed. But he could have just full power energy this attack, super comboed the Gohan attack, and be in a pretty good spot to swing back. Jonathan swinging in 20k, and that's just going to immediately get full power energy, but net Jonathan 2 more cards. Again, very devastating, very hard. for Max to deal with here. But he has plenty of cards in hand. See what Jonathan decides to play for 1 energy here. Jonathan taking his time. Wanted to play 1 energy. Thought about playing 2. Who's going to pass turn? Keep a little bit of open energy. Never a bad idea.
Never bad. Especially because one of his untapped yellow energy is actually Nimbus. So
Right.
it kind of just gives his opponent like, all right, I just got to make sure
Because of that,
I don't get
Max,
blindsided by a Nimbus.
right, Max needs to make sure that he attacks with a battle card first. Something important to note, Jonathan's still at 8 life.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but again, something powerful androids can do. They can attack you with just all critical threats, which is
Yeah,
something
so
that...
Jonathan doesn't essentially have to see those last 4 cards, or
Yep.
first 4 cards,
Yep.
on his road to being awakened. So that's something that's really, really powerful that Max has going for him if he can land enough androids with enough pressure to really get to his opponent.
Right. All right, we'll see what Max decides to do here. See if he decides to play one of these powerful cards in his hand or just take a shot with his leader first hopefully, after this Android 18 attack. You always want, when your opponent's threatening Nimbus, you always want to attack with a battle card first. A bit of kill going on. Attacking with 18 first. This is 20k critical coming in. By the way, guys, this Android 17, blocker, barrier. When you play this card, if your leader card is green, it chooses up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Pretty powerful 3-drop, 25k removal blocker barrier for androids.
Yes, very, very good.
I can't think of anything that could be better than that, unless it was just literally 0.
I love blockers with autos because you just get extra value out of the card, right? You're already playing it like a card that you would normally play, and man, this card makes Beerus look like nothing.
Like an idiot.
Like what are you doing?
Like he's just like, what am I? I'm a 4-drop 20k double striker that has to be played on turn 5 to do anything. Cool. You can be played for 3 and you do way better than me, and
You're 25k.
you also 25k to barrier and a blocker. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
So I remember set 1. Like, you know what I mean? Pretty good.
Tournament of Power made this man a champion.
Absolutely. And he is a champion. Love the dude. All right. Something pretty cool. Androids 2 has always been pretty weak to aggression. They've always been very good at offense, but pretty weak to that crackback. And this card gives them removal, which they were lacking. They only really had removal through Cell Chain, and a reliable blocker to help on that defense as well. So, great addition to the deck. Card is bananas. All right, Max is going to combo with his Trunks. Here comes Banisher Fu. Going to remove the 18, which is the only target, because 17 has that blocker. Max is just going to full power energy. I love countering overwhelm cards. Always feels so good. It's like you're not going to attack, and it goes away. It's like it's kind of like a negate removal. You know what I mean?
It's a card for a card.
Yeah, card for a card. Feels pretty good most of the time. All right, so Max gets to go into his turn here with 5 energy. Can be pretty devastating. Gets to play out Big Mama 17. My girl. Love this card. 25k attacker, double strike, and make sure your opponent discard a card on the auto. So it's before damage goes through, it's before you block, before anything else. You have to discard a card. But she has to attack the leader. So she's going to cause Jonathan to have to discard a card here, but he also gets 2 cards in response. Finally taking some life. Max attacking 15,000. Getting to draw a card here. Gets another Banisher Fu. Very good to have in hands. Jonathan choosing to save the 18. And he's going to pass. Well, energy open. Showing full power energy open. Also has some cheap combo cards in his hands. No, I'm pretty sure that Jonathan does not have Chain Zeno in hand. I mean, Chain Zeno in deck. I haven't seen Zeno in his hand yet, but he could. He does have the 3 red available to play Chain Attack, so now he just needs Zeno. It's possible it's something he sideboards into. Attacking for 15,000. Into 15,000. Android 18 into Android's leader. Oh, does he have the Zeno in hand currently? Awesome. I can't quite see it. So that's cool. So he has everything ready to go. He has 3 red and Zeno. Oh, and Max took it, went to 2. I don't think he's going to be expecting this Chain Attack Zeno here. There's the 4. 3 red, Chain Attack Zeno. There it is. Max might be in a rough spot here depending on what he draws into, though. Jonathan going to 5 cards could also be in a bad spot here. It's very easy for Max just to super combo him out of cards in hand. Kind of a gamble here, but I think it was absolutely necessary by Jonathan. And I think 9 times out of 10, he's going to get a favorable draw over Max. He gets to discard multiple cards out of Max's hand. And actually, I think nets 1 card himself, so in the vacuum, a good exchange. Draws to a Zeno, not a great draw. Banisher, a super combo. He actually draws into another Chain Attack Zeno, actually. Max drawing to no super combos whatsoever. Does draw into a Chompo. All right, going to use Dr. Giro to stop the damage. I actually kind of like Dr. Giro there. His hand is a little weak, so it would be nice to have that Dr. Giro to get out of it. Maybe use him to search for a super combo. Jonathan still pondering what he wants to do here. And Max is just going to stop it. Pay 1 and stop it. All right, Max untapping his 5 energy. I expect him not to play an energy this turn and just try to get some card advantage back with anything he can. Not sure if he runs the new 5-drop Ultimate Box Cell, but that would be a good way for him to get at least a couple cards into play, or draw a couple cards. All right, attacking 15,000 into 15,000. Either Zeno or Vegeta couldn't see the declared attack. Yep, and Jonathan's just going to let the Zeno die. Max has a couple choices on his hand. See what 2 cards he gets off the top of this. Gets another Doctor and actually Big Mama, which isn't too bad. Max is in a very weird situation. He could play Big Mama, which is very strong, but knocking your opponent directly to 5 life and 4 life could be rough when you're already down cards. Max has a very important decision to do here. All right, he's gonna attack 15 into 15, trying to get Jonathan down to 5 life so he can knock him to 3 with this discard. He succeeds to do that. Max still taking some time to ponder this decision. It's very tough. He has no 17 for his 3 drops. So he can't unit Patora. Okay, gotta pay 3. And just pass. I actually really like this play a lot. This sets up his cell, so he has the ability to possibly next turn, after all of his draws, be able to evolve or unit Patora to put some pressure on Jonathan. Ideally, what he would want to do is be able to go up the chain after he's awakened Jonathan, or knock Jonathan below some life. So this sets that play up beautifully. We'll see if Jonathan lets him have another turn, though. Max at 2 life, very vulnerable to foreseeing hit. Max accidentally picking up. Yeah, just showing him he has it. Jonathan taking game 2. Very, very close game. Very, very close game. Jonathan, I'm not sure if Jonathan sideboards into Zeno, the chain attack Zeno, or that's a main board card. Look a little bit at Max's sideboard here. The Foos would be a good occlusion if he wants to try to get back from these chain attack Zenos a little bit easier. A little bit of card draw would go a long way in Max's deck. Jonathan looks like he's not going to sideboard and instead just going to keep what he has. Actually, no, he looks like he's reaching over right now. We'll see what he has. I wish I knew if the chain attack Zeno was a sideboard plan. Looks like Max might be sideboarding out Banishers and putting in 7-drop Foos. Yeah, I couldn't quite see. Oh, guys, super, I'm glad you guys like the cameras. That's awesome. If you guys have any suggestions or any way I can make the stream better, let me know, guys. I'm definitely doing this for you guys. I want to make sure you guys have... Oh, thank you, Tuvlo. Do you really need to split the player cam into 2 halves when it's 1 shot? It's actually not 1 shot. It's actually, it actually is 2 cams. I mean, it's 2 separate instances. So I just spliced them together to make it look like it's 1 shot, so it looks a little bit clearer for you guys. But it's actually not the same shot, if that makes sense. Card preview slot, absolutely. That's definitely something we want to include. Abella judging, look at that guy, looking good. Yep, Claudia X, we'll make sure we include that with the next stream. It's definitely something I wanted to get to this time, but I wanted to all right, guys. Cannot wait for this 3rd and final game. This Android deck has been sick. This Ultimate Box Vegeta deck's been awesome. Both players playing 2 really awesome decks. Cannot wait. How much time is left in rounds? I don't know if we're allowed to say that, because the new rules is we're not allowed to, or the players aren't allowed to know how much time is left in the round. So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say how much time is left in the round or not. But I will ask George or the head judge and let you guys know for less. This is by far the best setup any DPS stream has ever had. Dude, freaking thank you so much. Thank you so much, B Fox. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I worked really hard on it for you guys, and I'm so happy you guys are enjoying it. All right, so these guys are getting off hot and heavy. Jonathan playing Master Roshi. Such a good counter card for the Universe 7 decks. Android's already going. Oh, doing double strike critical right here. This is, 25k double strike critical, and Jonathan has to take it. Sick play. He gets to draw 2 cards off the Android Awaken. I'm not sure that Max needed to awaken there. Knowing the threat of chain attack Zeno, I don't know if he should have awakened there. I think it's okay to wait. He gets no benefit awakening until he's at 4 life. So I think he maybe should have waited just a little. The boss, thank you so much, man. That really means a lot, man. Thank you. Guys, thank you so much. I've worked so hard on this the last like 4 or 5 weeks. So I'm really happy you guys are enjoying it. It really, really means a lot to me. I will do my best to do an even better job for you guys when we move into Richmond on September 8th. So I will do my best to just keep improving the stream, keep bringing you guys the kind of content you deserve and this game deserves. I think so, Jimmy the Drag. I'm not sure, but I think we're going to have the head judge on the stream at some point today, and these are questions you guys can ask. Yeah, I'll definitely make sure we have Gabriel Alonso, the head judge, on the stream at some point, so he can sit down with you guys and answer your guys' questions and let you guys know the rules and how things are working. Like I said, I know some of them, but I don't know all of them, and I don't want to like tell you guys the wrong thing. All right, so Max is swinging it here. I'm gonna draw a card, 10,000 into 10,000. I doubt he's attacking into Roshi here, but he might be. He might not want to give Jonathan a card, which makes sense. When you're playing the old hand destruction deck, oftentimes you don't want to give your opponent any cards. Yep, he's just going to take it. Going to 5. Much faster game by Max this game. I think Max got a little blown out by the chain attack Zeno last game. I don't think he expected it. And I think this game he definitely does. And you can tell he's definitely playing around it a lot better. It doesn't look like Max runs the new 5-drop. Gonna kill the Roshi. Another really cool thing that Max has here is Max doesn't really have to wait for his opponent to awaken. Because his opponent is playing a leader that untaps 2 energy, he can actually go ahead and cell chain now, and it's still as good as if you waited to whenever, traditionally waiting until your opponent awakens. So it's actually, it may look a little aggressive to chain attack here, or to cell chain here, but it's actually pretty safe. All right, Max actually going to swing after the attack to possibly, almost for surely, knock Jonathan down to 3, but Jonathan has the Flying Nimbus to counter that attack. All right, Jonathan trying to contemplate what energy he wants to put down here. Choosing to play down 1-drop Goku. Very powerful card in these Universe 7 decks. Much better in decks like Gohan Universe 7, but still very powerful in a deck mostly built out of Universe 7. 1-drop comes into play, lets you look at the top 3, choose any Universe 7 and put it in your hand, including your super combo. Jonathan playing down Gohan, 15k to 10k. Critical, gets to draw 2 cards off of that. Yeah, guys, I'm actually not doing the overlay, the life overlay. I actually have a buddy with me, Blake. That's Blake Price. That's actually doing the life overlays. So, yeah, he's actually sitting over here doing it. I'm just focusing on commentating, trying to make sure everything looks good for you guys. Look at chat. So, yeah, definitely, guys, give Blake a thank you, a big thank you in chat. He's been working very hard to learn how to do all these overlays and stuff for you guys. All right, Jonathan, not looking like he has an answer to this 7-drop cell, which is going to quickly get out of hand if you can't find a Banisher Fu or something to get rid of this thing. Yes, Life Guy is doing awesome. Max going up for a second cell chain, getting 2 of those out is going to be pretty hard. Another one, two Big Daddies out. We'll see what Max decides to do with the second one. I like the idea that he is not evolving yet. I don't think he has an 18 in hand, but I might be wrong. But I think even if he did have an 18 in hand, it's right to attack with both of these cards first, and then use the second one if you had it. Maybe he draws an 18 here. Come on, get an 18. Let's go, Max. He's waiting for Jonathan to negate. Very, very good. He's waiting for his opponent to respond. A lot of players get anxious here and draw too early. No negate, draws a card, gets a Choppa. It's a funny looking 18. We'll see what Max decides to do here. I don't think attacking with this 7-drop cell is necessary. He could tap out and play Gohan. Attack with Gohan, try to get a 17 off of life. Seems a little ambitious. I'm Jonathan going to use Sensu Bean. Going up to 20k. So you're saying there's a chance? Absolutely. All right, Max is actually choosing to swing with the attack. Ooh, maybe not. I actually think it's right for him not to swing here. There's no reason to knock your opponent down to 1 card, I don't think. Well, actually, let's see. If he double strikes in with the 7-drop cell, it actually might be worth it if he's expecting his opponent to have a Gohan in hand. Because his opponent will draw 2 cards anyway. Okay, he's going to choose. In my mind, this is to play around Gohan, which I don't think Jonathan has in hand. He has a Zeno, it looks like. This is also a good way to play around Chain Attack Zeno as well. If he puts 2 cards in his hand, and his opponent Chain Attack Zenos to wipe the board away from Cell Chain, then he just wipes the board, goes to 5 cards in hand, and he's at 1 life. So I think this is actually, the more I think about it, the correct play. Looks like Jonathan might be using 18 to block here. We'll see. Yep, 18 comes down, goes down to 25, right? At 25, Sensu plus him. Needs 10 more K. Right, and he's just going to pitch Trunks. Yeah, I agree, guys. I think the 7-drop cell attack was actually a beautiful attack the more I think about it. I keep forgetting that Jonathan runs Chain Attack Zeno in this deck. It just seems like a deck that's not going to run Chain Attack Zeno. Though, even though that he can run Chain Attack Zeno, the reason why I think it might not be a good attack was because Jonathan cannot ever Chain Attack Zeno the next turn because he doesn't have 3 red in his energy. He only has 1 red and you need 3. And so in my mind, he doesn't have to play around Zeno yet. And so I think it might have been okay to leave it back 1 more turn and not give his opponent cards. But since his opponent actually comboed out of it, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. You just don't want to give your opponent 2 cards if you can help it. All right, 1-drop Goku. Let's look at top 3. Needs a Gohan or a removal. Something. Okay, so he's going to attack. He gets to return an energy. Let's see what he decides to do here. Attacking in for 20k. Looks like he actually got a Gohan from that. I think I saw a Gohan go in his hand. Gohan's going to keep him in the game. I don't think Max has an 18 in hand. I think Max is short of 18. I don't see it. Yeah, he has a 17 in hand, but he doesn't have an 18 in hand. So he actually can't go to the cell chain again. He's actually locked out of the second cell chain. Looks like Jonathan's going to play this Gohan he got off the leader attack. Jonathan getting another Gohan. That was the best possible, I'm going to say the best possible draw. I think trying to find a way to get rid of this 7-drop cell is very important, but definitely one of the top 2 draws. Very, very good. Gets to attack. 15k critical. Gonna draw 2 cards off of this, see what he gets. Yes, Vegeta is a little low on cards in the deck here, but I don't think as much as it looks like. I think it's just a weird camera angle makes it look like he has a lot less card. Dusty, new rules is the players can't know the time left. I believe so, Red Tronos. I believe so. But I will have Gabe come on here and talk to you guys a lot more closely about that. Or when George gets back, I'll have him answer that question a little bit better. No, George is the TO of the event. He's also helped me cast as well. Looks like Max is going to take this use Gohan here to go to 4, which is going to allow him to start putting a lot of pressure on Jonathan. Gets another Champa. Champa actually a pretty good draw here. If I was Max, I would absolutely use it here. Going to 25 critical double strike. That's going to put a lot of pressure on Jonathan. If Jonathan wasn't planning on taking this hit, he's almost surely. I'm sorry. If he wasn't planning on trying to combo through this attack, He almost assuredly will now. And if he can't, that's a lot of knowledge. Here's a 25, needs one more card. There's the 30. Has what appears to be 2 cards left in hand. Max can actually attack with leader and maybe sequence his plays enough where he can use super combos to rip his hand apart and actually maybe just does have access to 1. Ooh, gonna use Flying Nimbus to actually stop that attack. Only gets 1 more attack. I actually think Max might just pass here. His opponent has no cards in hand. No fear from Chain Attack Zeno. Nice, gonna play the card, then probably pass. Like it. I think that was a misplay. I think it was a little bit of a misplay by Max. I think Max should have killed the 18 and attacked into the Gohan. My guess is that Max actually might have game here. Yeah, because if Jonathan has no cards in hand, he could attack with Android 20. If he would have killed the 18, he could attack with 20, put a card into Jonathan's hand off the 20, and then attack with Cell, use super combo to discard it, and he wins the game. Yeah, a little bit of a misplay there. Yeah, Max had the game right there. Oh, you're right. You got Nimbus. You're right. I am so sorry, guys. Sorry about that. George was asking about time. I think we're about to go into time here, guys. I think it's like literally like 10 seconds and we'll be into time. So you're right. I forgot all about Nimbus. 100%. Sorry. Man, I was like, what? If I see the play, that's pretty bad. Super combo. Nice. It's going to take the last card. Okay, Jonathan just conceding. Good job by Jonathan. Seeing that and conceding right before time was called. Very good job by both players. Awesome matchup.